Hello, everybody. Friday live show. We're happy to see you joining us for the show tonight. We are trying out this Friday night 6 o'clock schedule. It works really good. Farm Fridays have always been my day to do work on the farm. And now that we're making this transition to doing full-time content creation, which we're going to talk about tonight, Fridays are a day where I'm working on Homesteading, getting the Farm Friday email all put together. And right at 6 o'clock, we're done with dinner. We're done with the work day. It's a great time to sit and talk homesteading with you guys. And then the weekend can begin. So welcome. We'll be welcoming you in the chat box in a minute as you filter in. First, we're going to talk tonight about doing something scary. If you've been following our YouTube channel and watching our videos that we've released over this last week, you know that we've started a very big series. For the next 100 days, we're going to do something scary. And we're going to get into that tonight. So welcome to the Naked Hog, Michelle. Naked Hog's saying, hey there from Louisiana. I love how far everyone watching and getting involved in the show, where they're all from. It's so cool to see people shouting out from wherever you're at. So glad you're watching from Louisiana. And yep, pork fried rice for dinner. It was delicious. It was really, really good. And it was our pork, which is always nice when you get to cook up your own, the animals that you worked hard to raise. And when you get to enjoy those meals, they are the best. So thanks for joining us tonight. Let's talk about doing something scary. Our first video that we put out this week, I talked about the scariest thing I've ever done. And in that video, if you haven't seen it, you can go back and watch it. In that video, we discuss some scary things that I've done. I've jumped off some big rocks into the lake. There's a rock near us called Chicken Rock, which Chicken Rock is on a lake where I grew up. And, you know, it's a pretty tall rock. You jump off the rock. It's that whole, you know, bunch of teenagers jumping off a rock experience. And it was something scary. I also talked about some adventures I'd had back before I had kids, before I was married. I hitchhiked the Amazon River one time. That was a little scary. I surfed at a really dangerous, really big wave. Me and my buddy swam out into the wave. This was if any of you are surfers, the beach was Puerto, Escondito in Mexico. And it's known for being one of the biggest, just most powerful, strong waves. And we paddled out into that wave, and then we got spanked. The wave was huge. We were just pretty much just scared, and we didn't even catch a ride. We just kind of survived our way back into the shore. But in that video at the beginning of the week, I mentioned the scariest thing that I'd ever done. None of these experiences were quite as frightening as, you know, a little bit lame, but going full-time self-employed. It's not like skydiving scary, but it is scary because you're taking the security of your job and your paycheck and something that you know, and you're jumping into a world of unknown. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay the bills next week. And that was a few years back when we made that leap into being full-time self-employed. Now, starting Monday, we announced this. Actually, well, we announced this a couple weeks ago, but Monday we announced our big Do Something Scary series. We've made the announcement that now I'm going from being full self-employed, but as a content marketer, somebody who I've been working with other people's brands, other people's companies to grow their business. And I'm now transitioning into being a full-time content creator. And that's a word you hear a lot on YouTube. People talk about being a content creator. Being a content creator, we're going to talk a little bit about what that actually means, why it's a great way to make some money as a homesteader. And I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about my plans for how I'm going to grow this channel and grow what we're doing here. So first off, what is a content creator exactly? That's just a fancy word that you hear people throw around. That's applied to people who create podcasts, YouTubers, guys who have YouTube channels, bloggers, even people who are putting original content onto social media. If you're creating something, you know, that's it's not like marketing material. It's, you know, something that's entertaining, that's educational, that's fun for somebody to watch or interesting for somebody to watch. You're creating content. And that's so all the YouTubers out there and all the podcasts out there, they're content creators. How do you make money? How am I going to, you know, run a business off of Homesteading? Well, it's the same way we've been doing it for the last few years. And the best way to illustrate it is to head over here, if you'll join me. We good? We over here, bud?
Yeah.
If you guys are leaving comments, by the way, I'll get back to the box. Oh, when I get back from my ride over to the whiteboard, which we didn't even erase our pre-drawing here, our test drawing. So how do we make money as a content creator? How do you make money making YouTube videos, making podcasts, if you have a blog? The best way to illustrate it is to treat content creation like a magazine subscription. So here we have Outdoor Life. This is one of my 2 magazine subscriptions. Outdoor Life, Field and Stream, and now Modern Huntsman, all 3. I'm a big hunting magazine guy. So here's our magazine. We'll call this Homesteading Magazine. And our artists, we hire our bad artists. They can't even fit the whole magazine title on the cover. I gotta hire new artists. Okay, so there's our Happy Homesteader magazine. And if you think about the way a magazine subscription works, you have people who want to read the magazine. They want to read the content that's in the magazine. And then you have people who pay to put ads into the magazine. So there's really 2 different ways to make money off of this content, this nice magazine that you have. The first one is your viewers. So those are the people who are excited to read. My son's laughing at my smiley face. So that's your viewer. And then you have the companies, the brands that want to promote their products. So Pitchfork USA, the company who wants to sell pitchforks, is the brand. Am I on the screen there? Yeah. All right. This is beautiful artistry. This is why I do this. So if you think about as a content creator, it doesn't matter if you're making a magazine, it doesn't matter if you're making YouTube videos, it doesn't matter if you're making a podcast. The medium doesn't matter. What matters is that you have not just views, let's change that, let's make this more personal. Viewers, they're what's most important. So you have your content, you need your viewers, people who are going to watch your videos, who are going to love your content, share it with other people. I love Outdoor Life magazine. I love Field and Stream. Modern Huntsman, this new magazine that we helped with the Kickstarter. These are magazines that I really enjoy, and I'll tell people about things I read. I'll share that content. Your viewers are the most important thing when you're a content creator. You need people to love your work. What's the matter? Oh, that's okay. So, when you're creating content, you need to think first about these people, not about the brand, not about the money. Think about your viewers. Are you creating content that viewers are going to love? Viewers don't care about tags, and viewers don't care about SEO tricks, and viewers don't care about, you know, whether your video should be 5 minutes or 6 minutes, depending on the YouTube algorithm. Viewers care about really good, engaging content. Things that are interesting, that are fun to watch, that aren't boring, not snoozers. We try to keep these live shows, multiple cameras, you know, different locations, horrible whiteboard drawings, so that it's interesting and it keeps you guys coming back each week to see more. So make content that people actually want to see. Think about these people first. They're actually your first audience. They're actually your first customers. They're selling you their attention, and then if you can think of a way to monetize your content yourself, you actually can have real customers from your viewers. So with Homesteady, we have classes that from time to time we tell you about a class. We have on-demand classes. And of course, we have the Pioneer program, which we've talked about before. Our Pioneer program is our membership program. For $5 a month, our viewers can support our show, giving us $5 a month to help us do this. And in return, we need to give them more value than what $5 is value to them. So in return, we give them bonus content. We give them discounts on lots of homesteading gear and equipment. We give them classes and courses with other professionals. And then in a week, we're going to be launching a Homesteady Pioneers Only forum, where every day I'll be in the forum along with other homesteaders and all you other pioneers who are just full of really good information and can help each other out with our problems. So we're creating a nice community for our members. So that's a product that we've made, and as we have grown our Homesteady business, the Pioneer program has been our #1 source of revenue. We could not do this show, we couldn't have the YouTube channel or the podcast without the help from our pioneers. So this is the most important thing, your viewers. Now, secondary to the viewers and your content being quality for your viewers, you can involve brands in your content creation. This is in the form of sponsorships, sometimes directly. Sometimes you go to Pitchfork USA and you say, hey guys, you want to put an ad on the cover of my magazine showing your nice pitchfork? It's my favorite pitchfork to shovel manure with. And they say, yeah, we'd love to do that. And we've done that in the past. Actually, currently, we are working with our partner Freight Farms, who, if you guys haven't heard the podcast, Freight Farms is a company who has a shipping container, and inside that shipping container is an entire hydroponic farm, and farmers buy the Freight Farm, they get it onto their farm, and they can grow vegetables throughout the entire season. So we've worked with Freight Farms. They help us do the show by providing money so we can do the show, and in return we help spread the message about their brand. Of course, it helps that it's a brand that works with our own brand. It would be different to put pitchforks on the cover of the Homesteady magazine. Freight Farms works on the cover. You wouldn't want on the cover of Homesteady magazine, something that conflicted with your brand, with your personal brand. So now, you can work directly with brands, or you can just sell that out to other companies. And on YouTube, lots of content creators go the route of monetizing their channel, telling YouTube, listen, go ahead and put an ad on my video. YouTube sells the ad space, and then they give you back some of the money that they make off the ads that have run on your videos. We do this. Our videos are monetized. It is probably, if you compare the revenue that we get from our own products versus revenue we get from YouTube, it is much smaller. And the really bad part about it is YouTube kind of games it. You've probably heard lots lately about different channels' videos being demonetized, different channels completely losing all their monetization. So it's not a great way to grow a business all by itself, but it can be part of your magazine. When I page through my magazines, I'm the subscriber who pays for this, so I'm the viewer member. But as I page through, I also see ads for Progressive, ads for Harbor Freight, ads for jewelry. They're like, dude, you've been hunting too much. You got to get your wife some jewels. So it's that twofold combination. Your members who will pay for the content to be made, and the brands that want to partner up with you to get their product in front of people. That is how you can make some money. And as a homesteader, it works really good. Let's go back to the desk over here and we'll talk about why this works nicely with the homestead life. Whee! So let's take a minute to say hello to people in the chat box. Guys, if you have a question and you want me to answer it at the end of the show, we don't have a question of the week because our question of the week, no one asked one. So we can get to your questions, but you need to tag @Homesteady so I see what your questions are. So right now, who's joined us since? We have Family First Homestead. Brian saying hello. Ellen, Rusted Oaks is another Texan here. We've got a few Texans here. We got some Florida. Uncle Todd Shop, Jan Henderson, watching from Texas. Lots of Texas. Love Texas, man. William. William says YouTube is throttling content on and off, making understanding impossible. They have high school dropouts working cheaply who get bored and messing with your channel. Sorry, but I won't stay. William, it's true. There's been a lot of frustration with YouTube, which is one of the reasons why it's really important if you're going to, build a content business like we're trying to do here, not to build it solely on the money that you're going to get from YouTube for ads. You got to make your own business model. And that's why, as a homesteader, that's why this works really good, because homesteading is very popular. Excuse me. It's very popular on YouTube. It's popular in the podcast world. If you like homesteading and you have a lot of stuff going on at your homestead, people will enjoy you sharing that. And you can, while you're doing work in the barn or while you're doing projects around the farm, capture that content and share it with others. But you do have to be a little bit smarter than just hitting the record button on a video camera and then hitting upload to YouTube if you really want to make a business out of it. And that's why we're calling this next 100 days doing something scary. Because what we're trying to do, we're not sure we're going to be able to do 100%. We're trying to make this transition from being, we're trying to make the transition from being content marketers who help other brands to just working on our own, being our own brand, producing YouTube videos and podcasts. But that means we have to grow. And like that magazine subscription, we need more subscribers, we need more members, we need bigger audience, and we need more brands. And so I thought it would be fun over this 100 days as we work really hard to make this a go, that we share this journey with you guys. So we've started this Do Something Scary challenge. And you're going to see this theme throughout a lot of our videos for the next 100 days, encouraging you guys to do something that maybe you've been holding back on doing. Something that, maybe you've been thinking about and maybe you've been toying with the idea, but now it's time to jump. I know for me, this has been something I've been building and building for the last few years, but not gotten to the point where I was ready to make the jump. And now I'm here, and as we talked about in our videos earlier this week, it's hustle time. It's time. I've gotten a little bit soft over the last couple of years. My business was doing pretty well, and working with my other clients was good. But now I realize I have to do the hard work to make Homesteady a go. So the first thing I did earlier at the beginning of the week was to say, you know what? One of the things we're going to do is the 100 days of videos challenge. Those are always good to get your creative juices flowing. They're good to get you in the mode of creating content, forming good systems, working really hard, working, with production in mind. And so that challenge is what I set for myself to do that. And it is a little bit scary, but it's something I think that we have to do. So what have you guys been holding back from doing on your homesteads? What scary things could you do? Maybe in the very beginning, it's actually just getting a homestead. Check that one. Maybe you've been thinking about, I got to fix our camera here. Hold on one second. Turn the lights on. Is that better? There we go. We got the lights turned on. Thanks, babe. My wife heard me coughing. We have a good production team here. Our other shot's working too. You sit. Shh. Got the pup in here too. So what have you been holding back in doing on your own homestead? Is it getting the homestead in the first place? Maybe you've been saving up, maybe you've been looking, maybe you've been thinking of moving from the city, moving from town, and getting to the country. Maybe it's time to make that move. Moving is scary. I've moved once, well, twice, I guess if you count I've moved twice. I've moved 3 times, really, but never too far. But we did move from town to the country, and that honestly was an exciting move because we knew we were coming to start our homestead. But if you've been holding back, maybe now's the time to start moving forward with that. Have you been waiting on buying some animals? Maybe you have the homestead and you have what you need, but you've been, reading and, oh man, you got to have this before you get chickens, and oh, I should have this in place and I should have that in place. And you're waiting for all these things to be just perfect. At some point, you just got to buy the chickens. Throat is killing me tonight. It's drying up on me. Maybe starting a side hustle. Maybe you have something that you like to do that you're really good at, and people tell you all the time, you should do this for, start a little business, start an Etsy store. And you're like, oh, yeah, I could, but I don't know. People might not like it. And that's scary to put your own product out there for the world to judge and say either, yes, we love it, or no, it's garbage. So that's a little something scary. But maybe this is the time to make that jump. Learning to hunt, that could be scary. Learning to fish. And more scary than even hunting or fishing, learning to actually clean and cook what you've harvested. That is something that a lot of people get creeped out or freaked out, but it's a great thing to learn to do. Excuse me, guys. I apologize. Hit the cough button there. Foraging. If you listen to our foraging podcast, you know that foraging is something that terrifies me. Every time I go foraging for something new and I find it, I bring it home and I'm like, all right, I can handle this. I eat it, and then 10 minutes later I think, oh man, I've poisoned myself. I'm going to die. But learning to identify wild edibles, learning that you have positively identified them, and then enjoying those wild edibles, that's something that can be scary, but is incredibly rewarding. Maybe it's doing what I'm doing, quitting your job, working for yourself, or maybe like what I'm doing, changing what you're doing, making a big shift to doing something that you love, but you are not so sure it's actually going to work. So what have you guys been holding back on? I see it in the chat boxes. Some people are talking about it. I'd love to know what you're doing that's a little bit scary, but can be done along with us in this Do Something Scary challenge. I have some fresh honey here. My wife is great. Fresh honey to help with the cough. Good thing Mom's watching tonight, right? Keeping us rolling. So I see some people here in the chat box. Michelle says she's looking for land in Missouri. Scary and exciting at the same time. That is so true. I remember looking for the homestead, and that was nerve-wracking because it is a big decision that you're pulling the trigger on. Naked Hog says, the B-roll on your videos is always nice. Thanks, Naked Hog. We try. Stephanie says, I don't find it scary. I find it exciting to be self-sustaining. That's good, because excitement can push us forward. Ellen sells on Etsy, eBay, and Amazon. It's a lot of work, she says. I've never sold on any of those platforms, Ellen. I've never done Etsy, eBay, or Amazon. But I have heard from people Amazon specifically is a lot of work. Stringridge Farm says, our biggest problem is time because we both work full time. My scary is quitting work so I can do more on the homestead. That is a scary one. And no doubt it will probably mean a pay cut. And that's the question you have to ask yourself. At what point am I willing to cut my pay to do what I love? When is that a good decision and when is it a bad decision? And that's one thing that I'm dealing with right now. Internet marketing, working for other businesses, it was a very good way to feed my family. Content creation is much tighter margins, and I'm in that spot right now where I'm doing what I love, but I had to take a pay cut to do it, and wondering, is that the right decision? So I feel your pain there, Stringfield. All right, so that's our message for this episode. Do something scary. Let us know if you're watching this live stream later on. Leave a comment for us and let us know what you're going to do. And We'd love to see you follow this 100 days of doing something scary. So let's talk about what you guys are talking about in the chat box. If you have any questions, we're here to talk about your questions and go over what you want to know. Naked Hog says, "How's the Arrow Garden?" Arrow Garden. I'm not sure what Arrow Garden. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Naked Hog. I'm gonna feel like an idiot when you explain it to me in the chat box. The orchard, maybe. My son's here helping me out tonight, and he actually, we wanted to show you guys, if you followed last week's live stream, my son's been helping out with the live shows, and I told him I would cut him in on the super chats that we get from the show. So the super chats, in case you're wondering, the super chats are in the chat box. There's that little $sign, and if you click on that, you can donate during the live show to our channel, help us do the channel. But I told my son, and I told the audience last week, I would split the super chats with him because he was saving up to get himself a Lego robot. So I told him tonight he had to show the audience, after saving for a long time here. All right, let's put him into place. He's right there, right?
Yep.
Hold on, let me clear the way for him. So he's been working on getting this robot. This is a Lego robot that you actually program. All right, ready? Big moment here. You guys help make this happen. That's awesome. So that's my son's way of saying thank you guys for your support and for the super chats that have helped us do this show and helped him get his robot. So now let's get into into the last bit of what's here in the chat box. So Naked Hog says Homestead. Let's see. Arrow Garden, Basil. Oh, I think Naked Hog was talking to somebody else. That makes more sense. Looks like he's talking to Ellen. So Rusted Oak Home says they're trying to dive into content creation, part-time around the day job to begin with. That's the best way to do it. We started with this show, waking up early to produce the podcast, and that was when I still had a full-time job. Then when I became self-employed, we started doing the YouTube channel, but I still had to do a lot of work for my clients, but I had more freedom because I was self-employed to work around, my work schedule. So keep your day job, start growing that content business. Content businesses, like we talked tonight, they are very slow to grow in the beginning because you have to build that audience, and that's the most important part. It takes forever, but it's well worth doing. In the long run. Sorry about that. Steve Burns, I find it scary how my wife will feel about my next big idea. Ooh, I know the feeling of that next big idea. When you're known for a lot of big ideas that maybe either fall flat or maybe you fall flat on them, I feel, I'm an ideas guy, and every week it's like, oh, I'm going to do this now. Oh, I hate that. I'm going to do this now. So I hear you there, Steve. Just got to make the next big one work. Stringfield Ridge Farm says, granddaughter said, no, Nana, you're scared of spiders. We hear that. Naked Hog's talking about trying to shoot video, edit, and upload with a 10 to 12 hour day job. It's hard to get content out. That is very understandable, Naked Hog. When I started this business, I was commuting to the southern part of the state doing construction. So it was an 8-hour workday with 3 to 4 hours of a commute. So I totally hear you there. What I did was I woke up at 4 a.m. every day to edit what I had recorded the night before after the kids went to bed. Fortunately, I started this when I was in my 20s. I don't know that I could do it now, which is why I talked about this in our video earlier this week about getting soft. I have definitely gotten softer since I first started this. But we really started the whole content thing. We started almost 6 years ago with our farm doing some blogging. So it's hard to do. The best thing you can do when you're filming, if you're doing for YouTube, shoot for the edit. Think about what you're going to say. carefully. Okay, before you hit the record button, no rambling. Just, all right, here we go. Start it. Boom. Hey, guys, we're talking about this. Boom. Done. Next shot. Boom. There's the pigs. They eat this much hay. They eat this much feed. Boom. So that way you go inside and all you have to do is upload it into one track and hit export. And in the early days of content creation, you want good quality, but you definitely want quantity on YouTube in the early days. So it's better to have 100 videos that are not perfect than 10 videos that are perfect, but no one saw because you only have 10 videos and no one stumbled across your stuff. So shoot for the edit. Think about quantity over quality. You can't go wrong. You think about Jack Spirko from the Survival Podcast. He started his podcast driving in his car, recording on a headset. So everybody could start a podcast recording while on their morning commute. Jack did it, and now he's a full-time, really successful podcaster. So hopefully some tips that might help there, Naked Hog. All right, guys. Well, I don't see any more questions in the chat box. We're getting ready to close, and we need one more to close up this live show. We're going to need to do one more robot demonstration here. So here's my son firing off this robot. This is, in case you're wondering, this Lego is called the Lego Boost, and it's a great way for kids to learn robotics. There we have it, guys. So thanks for helping us do this, guys. If you want to help us make this Homesteady brand work, if you want to make us successful over these next few months, not for our sake, but if you like our show and want to see it keep going, way you can support us without spending an extra dime is do all your Amazon shopping. Before you go to Amazon, type in amsteady.com. A-M like Amazon, steady like Homesteady. You'll be forwarded to Amazon, and we'll get a little affiliate bonus for sending you there. Or tell your friends about our channel. Spreading the news about Homesteady helps us grow too, and that's the most important thing. Like we talked about earlier, you got to get those viewers who love what you're doing. So we really appreciate your help. And Stringfield Ridge Farm says, thanks Homesteady for what you do. We love it, guys, and hopefully we can make this work so we can keep doing it nonstop. All right, we're gonna head out here. We gotta have one more robot showdown before we shut the camera off. Ready? Yep. This is his big moment here. Go for it.
Oopsie daisy. Let it run.
Uh-oh. We'll have to fix it for next time. Guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.